August 3rd, 2025, 9:33 p.m. Excuse me. I had a little too much food too fast. Acid reflux gets to me a little bit these days. I updated the Life of a Magical Circle to now show my new branding logo and the new, I don't know what you would call it, motif, jingle, whatever you want to call it, the sound effect, the little bit of music that plays that goes along with it. I then realized that I have so many trailers and screenshots and things of that nature that have my old Solidio logo on them as well that I'd like to update, but it's a lot of work, and I suppose at some point I have to accept that some of my old assets are going to always carry my old logo, but that's all right. I'm happy enough with it. And in the process of updating all of that, I went ahead and played the game. I think this was my first time playing it in a year since I released the anniversary update, as I called it. And I'm very proud of what I made with that game. It's really quite good. I was playing it and it's really the shit. It's beautiful. It's a great work of art. A wonderful reflection of what I went through at the time, and I think a fantastic first commercial release. And I really felt like it reminded me of just how much of a shame it is that more people didn't play it. I don't think it's the kind of thing that could get a million plays or sell a million copies. But I do think it's worth a lot more than the attention that it received. So as I said in a previous video, I am going to be talking about it more often once I start doing my new promotional campaign, because I really would like to draw a little more attention to it. It's also the kind of thing where it's funny, I was reading some reviews of the game, some old reviews of it, and how many people weren't able to understand the game or complete it, this is part of what makes it difficult to sell to a wider audience. Is it's very much intentionally designed to be something where you have to make a concerted effort to understand it. You have to experiment. You have to think about what it is you're doing, what the game is about, to figure it out. And it seemed like everyone who is able to figure out the game were able to appreciate just how well made it really was and how clever the whole game is when it comes together. But if you don't ever figure it out, if you don't really get what's going on, well, then it just seems like, I don't know, a relaxing, fun, casual little game, but that there's not really much to it. And the narration seems rather simple as well. And yeah, I was looking at the top review on the Steam store page, and that review was like that. They enjoyed the game, but they didn't really get what the whole game was about. They didn't get how it connected. They just saw it as, oh yeah, it's this fun, relaxing kind of game. It's a little hard. It might be different now. I don't know if it's easier for the average person to play it now because of how I changed the control scheme. That was one thing I wish I had play tested earlier, because that did turn out to be a problem for half the people who played. But nonetheless, very happy with what I made there. I think it's wonderful. I have a feeling that in the future, at some point, assuming my career continues, which I have no doubt it will, I have no doubt that it will receive some more attention and people will appreciate what I made there. I think it's quite nice, and it felt very much like something that, maybe it's a little silly to say that it resonates with me, because of course it does. but it feels very relevant to even what I'm going through right now, and with rediscovering my sense of purpose and what it is that I'm trying to do here. So it was very nice to see that and to play it again and experience it again after not looking at it for so long, and being able to see it with fresh eyes and appreciate what a great job I really did with it. I'm so happy with it. Anyway, trying to make a focused effort not to say things like or like. No filler words. I want to make a conscious effort to really work on that, on those speaking skills that I've mentioned before. What else did I have to talk about today? Not much. I didn't have too much time to do stuff. The updating of the game took a little longer than I was hoping it would. So I got that out there, and then I wanted to get to doing, finally, working directly on the promotional campaign. I'm probably going to go outside and hang out there for a bit since I haven't gone for my daily walk yet. And in the process of doing so, I'll probably write another script or two based on my hopefully final. I think this is my final idea now for exactly how I want to do these videos. Won't have enough time tonight to record anything, so I'll have to get to that tomorrow. However, I do also want to get directly back into working on the game tomorrow, so I'm going to, first thing tomorrow, get back into that. Actually work on the game, work on the new Archer level. Hopefully within a couple of days even, or a few days, have the Archer level completely finished. The introduction to the Archer's level, I should say. And perhaps at night for an hour. Each night over the next few nights for an hour or so, perhaps before I make these videos, I'll experiment with making the new videos. Want to really make sure I nail it with these new videos, with this new promotional campaign. So I'm going to take my time to experiment with it, iterate on it, might even produce a new music track just to go with my videos and do my best to nail that. Oh, also, I didn't get around to reseating my graphics card to see if that'll fix it. So actually, I'll probably do that first thing tomorrow morning, see if that helps at all, and if it doesn't, deal with that problem first and then get back into working on the game. I also have the meeting on Wednesday this week with Phoenix Inc., the Japanese publisher, so looking forward to that. And there was something else that just popped into my mind, but it slipped away. What was it? Oh yes, the update that I released for the Six Samurai demo. That went well. I posted on the forums, there was somebody in the forums who had complained about the low performance they were getting, and they were actually the one in the forums. I think his name was Wolf something. If he ever happens to watch these videos, shout out to him, because he suggested that I could turn off the post-processing effects to help people like himself who have also very old computers. And I hadn't considered that. That's something that on newer graphics card will barely even hitch, so it's not something that appeared obvious to me on my end that it would improve anything. But as it turns out, older systems very much might struggle with modern full screen post-processing effects. So I added a new graphics setting for that on top of a bunch of other optimizations I made in the game in general. And after uploading that, he actually replied to me on the forum, because I sent him a message on the forum as well, letting him know about the update. And he replied, letting me know that it worked. So I guess it runs well for him now. So that was great to see. Hopefully that means for everyone who is on a low spec computer that they will see an improvement. I was just double checking X here because there was a guy that I sent a message to because he was also a low spec player, to see if he wanted to check it out and if there's any improvement for him, but nothing yet. There was the Mix showcase that I mentioned, the indie game showcase that I could use as publicity for my game, but which had a $600 fee, and I was trying to figure out whether or not I should participate based on that price. I don't know if I mentioned in this past couple of videos, but I did get feedback from one developer who told me about his experience with it, and based on the data I got from him, it doesn't seem worth it. However, I went ahead, since it's only one data point, I had messaged a few other developers as well, so I'm still waiting to hear from them. I only have 2 more days before I have to confirm that I'm going to be a part of the showcase, but yeah, it's still looking like I'm probably not going to participate. I don't have much else to say tonight. There was just one thought that occurred to me, which is maybe 2. The first one, when I was reading old reviews of The Life of a Magical Circle, and I was thinking about them, and this was immediately after I had just played the game, and I was thinking about the contrast between this top review that didn't really understand the game, and obviously it didn't resonate with them on any deeper level, but they still enjoyed it, and then my experience with it, where I feel like it is a wonderful work of art that resonated with me beautifully, And also the knowledge that there were other reviewers and people who played it who got something really great out of it as well. In fact, recently on GOG, I noticed that on the store page for my game on that platform, I said enough. On the store page on that platform, someone left a review very recently. It was in the middle of July, and they gave it 5 stars and said that as you peer into the game to learn how it works, it peers back into your soul. So he seemed to very much enjoy it, and it resonated with him a lot. So I appreciate there are people out there who get what I was trying to do with it and who got that experience that I intended out of it. So what I was thinking about with regards to the large variety of opinions you get when you're reading reviews as an artist, as a creator, is that reviews really aren't for you. What does it mean to me to read about somebody's thoughts of whether or not they think what I made was good or not, or whether or not they enjoyed it? I have no choice but to make exactly what I think I'm supposed to make, to the best of my ability, and to be the judge of whether or not I accomplished what I set out to accomplish. And reviews are really for people out there who are trying to decide what to spend their time and money on, and perhaps to listen to people who have similar tastes as themselves so that they don't misuse their time. But for me as the artist, as the creator, anyone can say whatever they want in any review. None of it changes my value judgment of what it was that I created. So it made me consider that from now on, very similar in vein to how I've been avoiding reading any comments on the internet for the past week or so, which I'm going to keep doing. I really must emphasize how much I feel I benefited from it psychologically. I really do feel like it's boosted my mood not to be inundated with millions of people's random thoughts all the time. It's been quite great. And I do find myself slowly losing the compulsion I had before to constantly read everyone else's opinions. It's not even just about internet comments. Even things like when I watch a movie sometimes, I form my opinion about it, and I'll always think to myself, I wonder if other people thought this, and then I go and Google it to see what other people think. I really don't like that habit, so I'm not doing anything like that anymore. I'm gonna stick exclusively to always thinking for myself, and if I engage with other people, do so in real life and never through some digital means. But yeah, I think when it comes to reviews as an artist, there's nothing really to be gained from reading it, except for the sake of your ego. I think that's the only thing, and I think that's the real motivation, is you want to read the people who give you a pat on the back, right? I think the real connection, it is nice to see when people connect with your work, and the real goal is hopefully to connect with people through your work. But strictly speaking, in terms of critical reviews, I think you do have to ignore them completely and leave that to the quote unquote consumers, as much as I hate to use those words. And for yourself, I suppose you just keep creating. I think it's just an ego thing to boost your ego when you go and you read the reviews and you get upset if you see something negative or they didn't understand your work or whatever, but it's all completely pointless. Especially because at the end of the day too, you can't ever argue someone into understanding or enjoying your work. They either get it or they don't, and they're either willing to put the time in to get it or they aren't. And it's given me a newfound inspiration going forward in working on Six Samurai as well, and I've talked about this a little bit recently, in simply having complete trust and faith in myself and my vision and in being happy with what I made. This time around, it's perhaps a little different insofar as I have to more carefully ensure, based on mistakes I actually made with my first game, that my game comes across the way that it's intended to. I think that is where feedback and testing is still useful. But when it comes to the creative aspect of it, that it's fundamentally pointless to be reading anyone else's thoughts or comments or opinions. And just like I did with Life of a Magical Circle, where perhaps part of the reason why that game is so purely true to my vision is because I did so little playtesting with it, except at the very end. And so it's such an excellent reflection of exactly what I wanted to do. So anyway, that has inspired me to stop losing any confidence in my vision for Six Samurai as well, and to perhaps not be so bothered. I mean, I won't be bothered anyway since I don't read comments anymore. That's my thing going forward. But nonetheless, to not be distracted by considerations of what other people will think, which was something that was maybe starting to get to me a little bit as I started to make this game more public in a way that my first game didn't get as much publicity, so I never had to read very many thoughts or opinions about it at all. But this game, I have to read them all the time. Perhaps now, not so much, but nonetheless. So it was a nice reminder to re-experience that confidence I felt when I first released that first game, and even though it wasn't a commercial success, how I had never felt more confident than I ever have in my whole life when I released that game. I didn't care that nobody cared about it. I didn't care that I didn't sell any copies. I knew that I had made something great, and it was this ultimate affirmation that, yes, I am skilled, I'm talented, and I am meant to do this. And now I know I'm going to kick ass and keep doing this. And all I have to do is improve what I'm doing, and especially improve on, it's funny. I suppose I've gone full circle because I felt my whole problem was I needed to improve on the business side of things. And in some sense I do, but having gone through the process now of carefully considering the market and business aspect of things, I find myself coming back to the original, staying true to my original vision and being patient and having faith and confidence in that, and not trying to play the algorithm game or whatever, in any way sell out to try to hopefully sell more copies, to hopefully make my game look a certain way. In fact, speaking of which, there is one thing about Life of a Magical Circle that disappointed me, which is that on the Steam store page and everywhere else, there's these materials for like the capsule art and the banners where it says The Life of a Magical Circle, a game about following your dreams. Technically, Magical Circle is not about following your dreams. It's about fulfilling your purpose, which I think there is a deeper distinction about that. Following your dreams, I feel like, is a very self-motivated, selfish kind of way of thinking, but my deeper intent with the game is to hint at something deeper than just your dreams, more like a cosmic purpose that you're meant for. That's not even necessarily something you want to do, possibly. I don't know. But it's meant to be a little ambiguous, a little deeper like that. But I remember the reason why I put the tagline of a game about following your dreams is I thought that that would make it more marketable to people. In the end, it didn't even matter. And I think that's an example of me not staying true to my vision and getting afraid and desperate to find a way to make it more appealing to people. And I think the reality is that was just a game that needed a lot more experimenting and a lot more time to do better marketing wise. I think it could have. I don't think it would have made a huge difference. That game was just a fundamentally difficult game to put into any kind of broader market. But I should have stuck with my original vision, and I think if anything, doubled and tripled down on it. And I was just so new to that, I didn't know what I was doing. And then I went for that, I guess you could say, low-hanging fruit, stereotypical, I don't know what phrase you want to use to describe it, but the most basic form of just do what everyone else is doing. Think of like what's the most obvious way to make this appealing to more people, instead of staying true to the vision and just let it be what it is. And either way, I think it would have turned out the same, but I wouldn't have ended up with a bunch of banners and art capsules and all this kind of stuff now that I'm not very happy with, because it doesn't really, in my opinion, reflect what the game really is about. But it is what it is. Lesson learned. I even think perhaps in the future at some point when I have some downtime, I'm going to go back and change all that art to be more in line with my final and initial as well focused vision on what I'm doing here. But yeah. So anyway, I'm really excited about my upcoming promotional campaign. I'm excited about taking on this new stage in Solidio and a new stage in my own life. And I've said this to myself a million times before. I've said it on here, but I'll say it again. I am now, finally, I believe, in the ultimate form, completely locked in, and I think it's for real this time. I think it's for real. Now, you could laugh at me. say, I'm going to screw up again, I'm going to backslide again. And that's entirely possible. However, eventually it will be true. I think it's true now. Because I said the same thing when I was trying to quit smoking weed for probably a decade. But eventually it happened. Now I'm coming up on almost 2 years without smoking. So I say it enough times and it will happen. And I believe that that happening is right now, and my wisdom and understanding of how to go about doing things and of understanding myself is deeper than it's ever been before. And with that, I'm going to end this video, go outside, maybe write a new script or two, go to bed, and I wish you sweet dreams as well.